Hello everyone, this is Jeremiah Elisha Morgan. I'm a media and digital enthusiast currently based in Abuja, Nigeria, and also a convener of JMF community. And today we're going to go into chat your path to success in one section. So we're not going to take much of your time. It's going to be like 1 hour tops. So I'm going to introduce our speaker, and then he's going to take the floor. Our speaker is Effa Isaac Samuel, who has been public speaking, is good with community building. He's just a great guy. I've known Effa Isaac since 2016, since I got to university, and ever since then, I've realized his greatness, and I felt and I believe we can do a lot of things together. Guys, join me together as we welcome Effa Isaac Samuel.
Thank you so much, JMF, for having me, and it's really a privilege to be in your presence, the JMF community. And there's no better time to put up webinars this that talks about how we can chart our paths to success, and the conversations are going to revolve around goal setting and all. So there's no better time for this to come up, and I feel privileged to be chosen to take this session. So yeah, JMF, thank you so much, and thank you everyone joining us. I want to assure you that the 1 hour you're spending on this webinar, 45 minutes of which is going to be my teaching, is not going to be wasted. And I want to assure you that I respect you too much to waste your time. So we're just going to hit the nail on the head and give out the information that we have promised. And by the end of this webinar, you would have said to yourself that this was an hour well spent. So once again, I really want you to put your hands together for yourself. You can use any emoji that depicts that. Let me know you are hearing me. Yes, just any emoji that represents your current emotion. I don't think anybody's crying. So yeah, good. Thank you so much. So we are having a conversation around goal setting, and the theme for this webinar is to chart your path to success in one session, to design your vision, to execute flawlessly, and then to dominate the year. Chart your path to success in one session, design your vision, execute flawlessly, dominate the year. So it means that from what you're going to learn today, you're going to be able to design your vision for the year. You're going to be able to execute flawlessly the items within that vision of yours. And then because you're able to design your vision, because you have been able to execute flawlessly, you go on to dominate the year. So when we say chart your path to success in one session, it means we are going to bring to your awareness certain knowledge that, if implemented, you will be able to design your vision, you'll be able to execute flawlessly, you'll be able to dominate the year. A wise man once said that knowledge in this generation, in this dispensation, is one of the cheapest things to get out there. There is so much knowledge at our disposal. If you're not on some AI tool somewhere, you can get that on Google. If it's not on Google, there are so many platforms that are out there to give you real information. Are you aware there are people that go on YouTube and take courses, and then they become pros and masters in those areas, even more than people that went to a conventional university. So there's so much knowledge in our disposal. But one thing we lack is the application of this knowledge. And that is where wisdom comes in. Because that is like the fine line between just having knowledge and then having wisdom, is the application. So I don't want to believe that this session is going to be one of those things you're going to add to your archives. You're going to add to your knowledge bank. Let it be one of those things you go on to apply that shows your level of wisdom, and then in return you'll be able to design your vision, you'll be able to execute flawlessly, and then you'll be able to dominate the year. We're going right into it, and I just want you to fasten your seatbelt. We're about to take a ride. So when we hear the word goal setting, what does it entail? I'll be fast, and at the same time I will pause at some junctures so we can just drink it in. When you hear the word goal setting, what revolves around your mind? Do you think it's just about scribbling some things on a piece of paper? These are the things I want to achieve. Do you think that is what goal setting entails? Yes, that can be correct in your own understanding. That can suffice, but in totality, that is not all that there is. All the New Year resolutions. Every year we come up with resolutions, things we want to adjust from, things we want to do, things we just, you know how the whole resolutions things play out. And I can tell there's somebody on this call that it's already February, and about 60% of the things you said you don't want to do anymore, or the things you want to do, you have gone against your resolution by 60%. There's somebody out there. So what happened? Why could you not follow through what you said you were going to do? So I want to say, if you're taking notes, you can actually take this down. That goal setting is the aim. It's a process. So it's an empowering process of turning your deepest aspirations. Mark my choice of word. It's deepest aspirations into clear, actionable plans. So plans are not just plans, but they are clear and they are actionable. Goal setting is the empowering process of turning your deepest aspirations into clear, actionable plans. It is about deciding what truly matters to you and creating a roadmap that transforms those aspirations into reality. It's about deciding what truly matters to you. So from the goals you set, what truly matters to you is going to become obvious. If I stumble upon your goal, the list of goals you have set for yourself, I should be able to, from that goals you have set, decipher what truly matters to you. It means the things that be worthy of being imprinted into that list you call the list for your goals. Definitely, within those things are things that matter to you. And then you have to create a roadmap that will transform those dreams into reality. So that is now can be called a goal list. Yeah. For some people, it's a wish list because there is no distinctive roadmap as to how to achieve it. So the difference between having a goal list and a wish list, you can see where the difference is coming from now. It's in the roadmap. I want to achieve this. I want to have a Cybertruck by the end of 2026. I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have this, I want to have that. Without an actionable plan that ensures that by the end of this year I'm able to afford a cyber truck, without an actionable plan, that list I have written is a wish list. So can we see that most of the things we carry in our hands as list of our goals, they're just mere wish lists, because there is no actionable plan. When you do goal setting intentionally, it becomes one of the most powerful drivers of personal growth. Goal setting is one of the most powerful drivers of personal growth. It is one of the most powerful drivers of discipline. Because with the actionable plan, with the roadmap you have laid out for yourself, it takes discipline to stick to it and see it through to the end. So if you stick to your goal setting plan, over time you discover that personal growth will become a byproduct of sticking to that plan. You discover that being disciplined will become a byproduct of sticking to that plan. And in the end, all the things you pointed out you wanted to achieve, because you have a roadmap, you have the actionable plans you have stuck to. In the end, you start ticking out the things you put on that list and you discover you've achieved, let's say, 95% of them. There is always a sense of fulfillment that comes, that is also another byproduct of goal setting. Fulfillment. Don't worry, we're taking flight. So I think this is a worthy introduction into what goal setting entails. Now, there are different ways to go about this discussion as to how we can maximize goal setting for the year. Because trust me, the GMF community, marvelous guys, I want to be able to come back to you in December and have a conversation around the things you laid out a plan to achieve. And I want to have conversations around the fact that we were able to achieve those things. And we can talk ourselves into the processes we had to follow, the plans we had to adopt. And then we can learn from the strategies that we used in achieving those things. I don't want to come and then at the end of the year, there were a lot of things we said we were going to do and we didn't do any of them. So if we want to look at goal setting from two broad perspectives, we're going to look at it from the perspective of having a plan and then having to be able to execute that plan. If I look at the land today and that land is barren, just like the year, though we're in February, but the year just gets started, there's a lot you can still achieve in the year. So I can still say the year is barren or the year is pregnant. And then that's like a piece of land you just acquired. So let's say the year is now a piece of land that you acquired. The first thing I want to do if I have to build a structure on this land is to get an architect for me, or probably being a geoscientist like myself, I know, okay, I have to do some geophysical investigation on the land. Let us be sure, okay, we don't have anything that is going to trouble us from underneath. And then we have seen that, okay, this piece of land is on a very solid and rigid terrain. We don't have any problem with all that. We get an architect. That's the next thing. The architect draws a plan. The architect draws a plan. The plan of the architect is such, it is so that the building is going to rest on a plan. Before the building is even executed, the architect can already picture the building standing. The architect can visibly close his eyes and walk through rooms, even though that building is not in existence yet. That is the power of the plan. The architect can close his eyes and walk from the sitting area to the lobby, to the dining area to the restroom, then to the bedroom, closing his eyes because he had drawn a plan. And then from that plan, begin to dig the foundation, begin to lay blocks, and before you know, brick by brick, this building is taking shape and it is taking the form of the vision of the architect. Just like your year. So if you don't draft out a plan for this year can be that land that I acquired and got an architect. You can get an architect for yourself, and this architect, it has to be yourself. You can see that we are all architects in disguise. That's where the vision comes in. So the architect is able to envision the building and then draws it into a plan. You should be able to envision your year and draft your year into a plan. Envision your year and draft it into a visioning it alone enough. The work the architect has done is not enough. That is the vision. That is the plan. It takes having to get on the field to dig, get the foundation in place, take the bricks, lay them brick by brick. That's the phase of execution. That's where most of our goals go to waste, because we are great dreamers, but we're not great executioners. We are great dreamers, we are not great finishers. So when you get to the end of the year, you know you had so much of a beautiful plan, but you could not actualize it. The disappointment at that time hits so hard, because the vision was clear. Just like an architect giving you the plan to the house already, and you're looking at the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful house. When can I get the money to get people to work on this field and make it into a building? This time you don't need to look for money to build this into a building. You don't need to look for cash. All you need to do is draft out the plan and then get to work, get busy. You should be around that plan. So we can see goal setting from two perspectives: planning and executing. Without execution, every goal is just a wish. Without execution, every goal is just a wish. So we can also see goal setting from another perspective, beyond just planning and executing. We can see them from, some people, there are some school of thought that have done profound work in talking about goal setting. They revolve the discussion around having what we call SMART goals. And then another school of thought comes, and then we have what we call SMARTer goals. So they added an ER. Within the course of this lecture, you're going to know what each of those letters stand for. And for some of you, I believe you already know, but for the sake of those who don't, we'll just run through that briefly. So, for you to experience personal growth, there are many other ways to achieve that. Or goal setting remains one of the surest ways to achieve personal growth. Because they are lazy. They don't fail because they are unserious. They don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because probably they are tired of trying, tired of hoping, tired of setting goals that never find actualizations. But they were tired of doing this over and over. The worst people you can talk to in terms of goal setting, some of them are in their 60s and in their 70s, or even their late 50s. when you ask some of these people, so what do you think about New Year resolution? They will tell you, they can even tell you, I don't believe in any of that. Because over time, lived long enough to have attempted it over time so many times, and then they were not able to achieve it. They were not able to achieve anything meaningful. They were not able to stick to those plans. So now they are in old age and they don't even believe such ideologies can be a real thing. So you can be tired of setting goals that never last. And when you are in that category, at some point, you will stop expecting much from yourself. Not because you don't want more, but because you don't want the disappointment that you keep having for each time you didn't see those goals to actualization. So the conversation tonight is about getting out of that circle. It's about intentionally making this year one of your best years. It's about jumping out from that bandwagon of individuals just very much busy in the rat race without having to leave any meaningful footprint. A lot of people are going about their daily activities in so much noise, and then they are not even paying attention to the very few things that matters so much in their lives and in their destiny. Okay, are you guys with me? If you're with me, can I just get a signal from anyone? JMF, are you there?
I'm active, bro.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm with
Great.
you. Go ahead, sir.
I'm trying to do justice to the subject you gave me.
You are actually
So
crushing
this
it.
is what we're talking about. You can actually get tired because you have tried over time, and because you didn't go about these goals the right way. You discover that you have lost the zeal to even set goals in the first place. So one thing I want you to do tonight, I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that, is to take a deep breath and forgive yourself. Genuinely forgive yourself. A lot of us are strict when it comes to demanding respect from others. When someone steps on your toes, you don't even allow it, you don't even let it slide. You must get an approach from that person. You must confront the person, hey, you stepped on my toes. Like, you have to call that person out on their bullshit. Some of you are big on that. But have you thought about demanding an apology from your own self for all the times you have let yourself down? For all the times that you were the stumbling block in your own way into actualizing some of these your goals. Some of us have tried to break into certain spheres as the word sounds, this word called trauma. As serious as the word sounds, trauma doesn't necessarily mean some of the most ugly things we think of, like a child being molested. That as ugly as that is, it can be a traumatic experience. As a girl, as ugly as that is taken advantage of, it can be a traumatic experience. As a man, you're driving and then probably you're involved in an accident, that can be a traumatic experience. But these are traumas in the extreme cases. Don't we know there are people that are traumatized by the number of times they've attempted something and failed at it? Now, anything that looks like an attempt to try that thing anymore gives them this kind of PTSD of a thing. And then they're unable to take a step towards that thing anymore because those things are now traumatic. So this session is a session where you confront yourself and actually forgive yourself for all those times. Because without forgiving yourself from these little traumas we carry here and there, from all the failed attempts, from sometimes even procrastination is a result of an unhealed trauma. Not everyone who procrastinates is a lazy person. Yes, it can just be the bottom line that this person is lazy, procrastinates a lot. Are you not aware that some people can procrastinate just because of the fear of failure? They don't want to fail in this regard, so they are afraid to try it again. Why are they scared of failing? Because they once failed and then they've gotten some traumatic experience from that failure. They don't want to experience it anymore. Can you see how some of the complex issues and some of the not so complex issues as well that we deal with in life, just it boils down to some of the most simplest things that we have neglected. So I need you to confront you. I need you to look yourself in the eyes and say you will no longer stop yourself from making progress. You will no longer be a self-sabotaging agent in this quest for greatness. So after you have failed a few times, you begin to lower the bar. You begin to expect little from yourself. Not because that little you're expecting now is realistic. It's because you are protecting yourself from further failures. You know you can achieve 100. But because you attempted it and you failed at it, the next time you are giving yourself an attempt of 30, you want to achieve 30. Because you want to protect yourself. Can you see how a lot of us are underperforming in different areas and then we're not even knowing that is because of setting goals the proper way? Some of the language we use is, let's just see how it goes. Oh, well, I don't want to expect too much. I'll try, but these are some of the words we use. Because deep down, we've already assumed the outcome. Listen, if you don't believe something is possible, you will not give it your full effort. If you don't believe something is possible, you will not achieve it. Even if you somehow stumble upon it, you are not getting the full effect of it. You are probably getting the semblance of it. Most of us don't even have goals. What we have are hopes. I want to grow. That's a hope. You are actually hoping. I want to do better. I want to be successful. It sounds nice, but they don't tell you what to do on a Monday morning. This is where goals come in. Clarity will not put pressure on you. Clarity will provide you with the freedom that gives you enough room to chase those goals. So now I want you to move from hoping to actually setting goals. If you're setting goals, you should know what to do on a Monday morning. Some of us will rely heavily on motivation. If there's nothing to motivate you by the side, you don't get into work. What you need is a structure, not motivation, because motivations will not always be there. It is unreliable. Life can happen. Energy can drop. Your emotions can get in the way. But with a structure in place, you're able to overcome those seasons. If your goal depends on how you feel, they will not survive real life experiences. What you need is a system. What you need is a structure. Not just vibes and wishes and hopes. No one ever achieves that with vibes. No one ever achieves anything meaningful with just mere hopes. To become a champion, you need to take a glance into the routine of champions. See what they do with their hours. See how strictly they are to a routine. They are binded by a routine. That is how success becomes very predictable. It is no longer if, it becomes when. Because you know, if I continue on this trajectory, there is no way. I will not buy a Cybertruck by the end of this year. So here's a mindset that changed how I look at goals. So instead of me asking, what if I fail at this thing? I ask myself, what if this actually works? I hope you are taking notes. Because some of these things said, you might want to come back to them over and over again. So the shift for me came when I experienced a change in my mindset. Because that's where the whole thing happens. That is the battleground. Everything is in our minds. Like one of the very profound quotes by one of my mentors. He says the mind makes the man. It means the state of our mind is going to represent who we are at every point in time. You cannot outgrow who your mind is. So I experienced a shift in my mindset. The mindset that made sure I wasn't sticking to those goals. I experienced a shift there. And I replaced the questions I asked myself, what if I fail? I started replacing those questions with, what if it actually works? So I take my eyes off the negative part and I focus on the positives. When pilots are flying and they are in communication with the control room, they don't tell them to ignore the, what's it called? They don't tell them to avoid the, I think there's this word they use that represents there's a turbulence in front, something like that. They don't tell them to avoid the obstruction in front of them. What they tell them is they should focus on the clear paths. Because if they should tell them to avoid the turbulence in their path, if they tell them to avoid it, all their eyes will be looking for is that turbulence. But if they say focus on the clear path, what they will channel all their energy towards is just to make sure at every point in time in front of them is a clear path. So they'll be able to meander and maneuver through obstacles and even those turbulences. So I changed my language. What if it actually works? So I started thinking about possibilities. It doesn't mean I don't fear that some of these things will not come. It's not thinking possibility. It's not the absence of fear. It just refuses to let fear make the final decision. So when fear speaks, I speak back to fear. When fear speaks, I speak back to fear. Fear gets the final decision and fear takes a hold of that situation when you allow fear speaks last. Because whether you believe you can or you can't, you have to act in alliance with that belief. I don't know if you get that. If you believe you can, you are going to act like somebody who can. If you believe you can't, you're going to act like somebody who can't. Good goals don't just sound impressive. Write that down. Good goals, they don't just sound impressive. They pull you forward. So good goals have some of these things in common. I'm trying to rush through. You can just write them down. So good goals, they have some of these things in common. So every good goal is clear, right? So good goals, they have clarity in common. They are clear. You know exactly what success looks like. That's clarity. They are measurable. You can track your progress over time. That's how being measurable feels. So a good goal is supposed to be clear. It's also supposed to be measurable. It's also supposed to be within your control. So a good goal also have that in common. It has to be within your control. It means you're not dependent on luck or on people's inputs. Everything about your goal should be under your control. Whatever luck you get along the way should be another advantage. So they are a little bit risky or scary. Yes, because growth in itself is a scary process. It's uncomfortable. Nobody grows in a place of comfort. Every goal also that is a good goal should have a deadline. Someday is not a date. Every good goal also should excite you. It should be exciting. It should be exciting. Not to drain you anytime you are at it. It always drains you. It shouldn't be that. That's not what good goal revolves around. Because the worth of every goal in itself, the worth of every goal, write this down. This wasn't part of the note, I'm just telling you along the way. The worth of every goal is in its reliability to your core values. So every goal you are setting should somehow be pointing towards who you are as a person, your core, what you actually stand for. And every good goal should be aligned with your current season. Every good goal should be aligned with your current season. Don't set goals that you are not in the season to set those goals. An 11-year-old child cannot start setting a goal to get married. He's not in that season. So you don't pressure yourself from comparison. Because those that are in their seasons, they will go on and achieve those things. And then you're pressuring yourself because you're not achieving those things, not knowing you're not in that season. Write this down. If a goal doesn't stretch you or excite you, it won't transform you. If a goal doesn't stretch you or excite you, it won't transform you. So if this year must be a good year, it's not just about career wins or money wins. These are the major things people set goals for. We forgot other areas of our lives, and we don't know that those other areas are somehow connected to these main areas. So real progress, real growth touches certain areas of our lives, not just money, not just career. You have to think in terms of personal growth. You have to think about your mindset. Your mindset, is there any goal that is channeled towards improving your mindset? Is there any goal channeled towards improving your healing? I spoke about self-forgiveness just now. Self-forgiveness is so paramount for personal growth. Because if you don't forgive yourself, that can be like an anchor that holds the ship down, so the ship doesn't drift away. That's what an anchor is used for. Unforgiveness can be an anchor on your neck that holds you down. You can't make progress. You can't go forward. You can't go sideways. You are pegged to a spot because you have not forgiven yourself enough to move past those past experiences, those past traumas. Another area of your life where you should consider channeling your energy towards growing is your career, your work. I said that earlier. That wasn't just the actual thing. There are other areas, but you have to put that as well. Your skills, the visibility for your business, your purpose. A lot of us have things inherent in us, gifts inherent in us that we are not even utilizing and maximizing. We're not even trying to develop those skills, those gifts. We don't have any purpose whatsoever for our lives. It means we're not growing in that regard. Our relationships. That's an area of our life we should pay attention to. A lot of us are not paying attention to that area. Our health, both your physical and your mental health. We're not paying attention to that area, and that's an area that needs attention. When one area is neglected long enough, it eventually affects the rest. So we need to apply balance at all costs. I'm trying to conclude. Big dreams are exciting. Daily actions are not. I think you write that down. Big dreams are exciting. It's exciting to have big dreams. But the daily actions that is a roadmap towards actualizing those dreams, those daily actions are not exciting. That's why people quit. So if you ask me, hey Efa, why do people quit along the way? I'll tell you, because it's not exciting. So the secret is not just putting in rigorous, very massive effort. It is the small consistency that matters, the small wins. Every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you stick to it and actually keep to your word and do it, you are building discipline in that regard. What you're doing is you're wiring your brain. So for every discipline you see through to the end, everything you said you're going to do and you saw through to the end, your brain releases dopamine, and that's a reward. And then your brain is always in need of that dopamine, so it always pushes you to want to do another. That's how we get compound effect. From small disciplines, we can now have bigger disciplines. So I want you to break your goals into quarterly focus. I want you to break your goals into weekly priorities. I want you to break your goals into daily actions, quarterly, so that you can actually measure them within the short-term goals. You can actually measure them. And then I want to also state, it's not good to have too many goals at a time. So it's just like chasing several rats and then you end up catching none. So if I have eight goals I want to achieve this year, I know we have 4 quarters. I can just spread them out into the quarters, 2 per quarter. That's how to go about it. And then within that quarter, I will break down the roadmap into weekly focuses and then have daily actions. At the end of that quarter, I'm going to do a review. Was I able to achieve this goal? So don't ask if you finished the whole goal. Just ask yourself, did I show up today? For every day you show up is a testament towards your commitment in fulfilling that goal. Obstacles will come. Your best year, if this is going to be your best year, it's not going to be void of obstacles. Self-doubt will come. Distractions will come. Unexpected setbacks will come. Days where you don't even feel like trying, those days will come. And I want you to write this down. Please write this down. In terms of the obstacles that come, in self-doubt, in self-sabotage, distractions, unexpected setbacks, what have you, traumatic experiences, I want you to write this down. And I got this from one of our matriarchs. And she said, be intentional about your choices. Be decisive about what's important to you. Discount the things that will not add to what your end goal is. Profound statement. Be intentional about your choices. Make choices intentionally. Be decisive about what's important to you. A lot of us are not decisive about what's important to us. Anything goes. It's not one of our preachers that says for every decision you make, there is also a consequence attached to that decision that is coming with a letter. So the moment you make the decision, the consequence is already in future waiting. You don't get to choose the consequence. You only get to choose decisions. And now she's telling us to be intentional about your choices. Discount the things that will not add to what your end goal is. Anything that does not add to what your goal is this year, discount it. Take it off your list. Take it off your site. So decide today how you're going to respond when motivation drops. Decide today what habits you're going to develop to protect you. What distractions you reduce. You don't become disciplined by coercion, by force, by willpower. You become disciplined by design. You become disciplined by design. Let me end with this. Your best year being this year doesn't mean everything will go perfectly. It means you're going to have a year that can just be like every other year. But the difference is in having the roadmap. Is in choosing to show up regardless, because you now have the design.